Next up, we have George, if that's all right. You ready? Yep. Round of applause for George, everybody.
So we'll start off with the first thing that I'm probably imagining that you're all wondering about is what's going on with my shirt. It says a fox leaping through the air with a cricket bat. And what is the context? You'll have to find out by going to my YouTube channel of HeadphonesUK, or you can go to my Redbubble of... yeah, or you can go to my Redbubble at Goose Sussex Prince and you can actually buy this shirt if you want to. I will say, the person who actually drew this design, it's actually going to be her birthday tomorrow, so I just want to say happy birthday, Rocky. It's a really great design. And also, while I have the opportunity, I want to say thanks to my fans and my friends, because they're always giving me new material, particularly a very good friend of mine called M. So thanks a lot, M. That video you made was awesome, so cheers. Alright, enough kissing ass, let's actually get to the routine. So let's start with a really silly joke. So Lucas is here today. He's over there drawing. I just got cobwebs in my head.
Sorry.
You didn't take into account a tall person like me when you put these up, did you?
I thought you were wearing stilts, babe.
But yeah, Lucas is here. I was with him at the weekend. We were down in Littlehampton watching the bonfire parade. And yeah, so we were with Simon from Upsuma. Who? Anyone else here know Upsuma?
Yeah.
I knew they get a good response here. They're always performing here. But we were sitting down in front of the parade. I had these two collapsible directors' chairs, and we were sitting down in them. And Simon pointed out afterwards something that I didn't realise. We were sitting in directors' chairs. I'm George. He's Lucas. And in a way, we do kind of look like if George Lucas split into two different people. He's got the facial hair and the beard. He's got the facial hair and the regular hair of George Lucas. I've got the physique. But yeah, so I've got a really gross story for you guys. Who wants to hear the gross story?
Yes.
All right. Pre-warning, it is very gross, and also pre-warning, I don't know if you would be at this time of night, but if you're planning on having a curry after this, I'd put your fingers in your ears for this bit. So I've been having some bad problems with my bowels, so sort of like, you know, wind and that sort of thing gets quite nasty, and I was mostly ignoring it until last week I nearly shit myself in a little. So that's a point where you kind of go, yeah, I should probably get this checked out. Although to be fair, I'm probably not the first person to have done that. And it wouldn't have made a difference anyway, it stinks in there anyway. So I went to the doctor and they did some checks and they basically went, well, we can't seem to tell if it's anything serious right now. So as a last line of defense, we need to do some proper tests. And I said, okay, what do you need me to do? We need you to collect some samples. Yeah, exactly. Okay, and so they gave me the little pots to collect you-know-what. And so I actually had to spend my morning today collecting my own shit. But it's a lot trickier than it seems, because obviously you can't just scoop it out of the toilet because the water would contaminate it and skew the results. So I thought, well, I need to catch it in something. And I just happened to have some of those takeaway tinfoil containers. So I put one of those in the toilet. And yeah, when it landed, it looked like the worst madras you'd ever seen. And there's like... So they gave me two tests, one which was basically just like a little spoon and a little plastic cup, and the other one was basically, you remember those little spatulas that used to come with PVA glue bottles back in school? Basically imagine skimming those across a turd, and that's basically what I did this morning. And you get to the point where you're just sort of thinking, you know, I'm literally scooping up my own shit. Is this really the point my life has gotten to right now? But hey, who knows, maybe it'll be all good news. I hope it will be at the very least. But Sticking on matters of the toilet. So this one's slightly cleaner, trust me. So sticking on that matter, there was a problem at my flat a couple of years ago. So my downstairs neighbour is this really lovely older lady her son, who's a couple of years older than me, lives with her. And best way to describe him is sort of like the kind of person you would see on Love Island. So yeah, like very good looking, young, virile, kind of a little bit of a dick. Hope he's not watching this. But he has these secret liaisons with his lady friends that he doesn't want his mum to find out about, and as a result he has to get rid of the evidence as best as he can. So one way he was doing that was he was taking his used condoms and flushing them down the toilet.
Oh.
Yeah, exactly. And the building I live in is over 100 years old, so all the piping underneath is all made of clay. So they basically collected down there and built up like a bunch of really skeevy water balloons, and they ended up bursting the pipes. And we had a look down there, because anyone who's watched my shows knows that they couldn't have been from me. So I knew exactly who it was, so I went over to him and I basically told him, don't do that again, because out of sight is not always out of mind, as we found out from this particular example. But yeah, as we get older, we all have to, deal with, all these sorts of medical things. But there's always these medical things that we hear about, but we're never quite sure if they're true. Like there's a famous rumor of if you sneeze whilst your eyes are open, your eyes will fly out of your head. I don't know if you've heard that one. I heard that one at school all the time. Which, if that were true, Malcolm McDowell must have been shitting himself when he was doing that scene in A Clockwork Orange. I just imagine Stanley Kubrick there with a little feather under his nose just tickling him like that. It's like, stop it, Stanley, I need to get it for the film. I will put it in the next one. But I told a friend about that once. It's like, oh, did you hear, like, if you sneeze while your eyes are open, your eyes pop out of your head? And I actually did try it once. And his first response back to me from saying that was, and did it work? To which, it's like, you want to react with, well, considering my eyes are still inside my head, I don't think it did. But instead, what I said was, yeah, and then I took some eyes out of a cat and put them in here instead. The downside is that I'm allergic to my own eyes now, so I sneeze all the time, but I know to keep my eyes closed this time. The good sign is that I can see in the dark now. But we've all got these little weird quirks and all these little weird things about us, We have to just sort of accept that that's who we are. I mean, I'm autistic, I've got OCD, ADHD. It's quite a miracle that I haven't turned into a serial killer yet, to be honest. So maybe that's what I've got to look forward to after I turn 30. In less than 2 months now, I'll be 30 years old. But, there's always some things that you say and always some things you consider. So I don't know if anyone saw my last gig I did at the Brighton at a place called The Actors. Anyone heard of that place? No? It's a good place, it's not far from Holstein Gardens, and I did this routine. So those who've seen me before know that I do the routine of my resting bitch face, because if I don't talk and I don't have a smile on my face, I look like this. And I actually did a follow-up to that with how the idea is that it's such a severe resting bitch face, it's soaked through to the back on the other side, and I actually had some eyes painted on the back of my head for that. And I then followed that up with a quote from some great poets of our time called the Butthole Surfers, where the line was, cinnamon and sugary, softly spoken lies, you never know how you look through other people's eyes. And then I turned around and I said, especially if you're looking through these eyes. But I'll leave you off with one more routine about the toilet. So you seem to have enjoyed that. So like, as you get older, you start to try and kick certain habits. And I had a friend once who quit smoking cigarettes and drinking coffee on the same day. 3 weeks later, he had a poo so good, he texted his friends about it. And it included the phrase, it was so good, it was in me and the water at the same time. You're very welcome for that mental image I've just given you. You've been fantastic. Thank you very much.